Hello everybody and welcome back to Dragon Age Veilguard, where Dragon Age Veilguard does not roll off the tongue. I just want to say Dragon Age Inquisition, but I've been saying that for 12 years now, so I can hardly be blamed, even to myself. But yes, let's see, we're gonna go do, I think, not a send-off maybe, but memorial's not the right word either, I don't know. Get some closure. Harding's quest is still a bit I'm still a bit huh? With some of it, where I'm like, oh,
onward,
so that was just your own anger manifested by the Titans? This whole time you didn't have anger, except you did, and what? But, it is what it is. No.
So where'd you get the cheese, Tosh?
There was a guy in Manrathis.
Oh.
There is.
We should go together. A little trip to the city, just the two of us.
Manrathis is rainy and smells like rich people hurting poor people.
Okay.
It's not romantic.
Oh. So, where would you suggest for romantic?
Oh. The beach? Yeah, definitely the beach.
The beach. That is very Ravani of her. Of them. Looks like it'll just be Harding for this. So they got their heart ripped out too,
Stalgard should be around here somewhere.
I hope he's fully recovered from being trapped in the rock.
I hope so too. But the Kal-Sharok dwarves are tough. I'd like to see Kal-Sharok. Do you think Stalgard would take me? Should I ask him? Would that be rude?
Only if you ask rudely.
Yeah.
They're wary of outsiders, but I could learn so much about the dwarves. About myself. Maybe once things have settled down a bit.
So she wants to apparently, nurture a relationship with Kal-Sharok dwarves, is what a little pop-up seemed to say. Instead of being angy. And they've already, they already accepted her once, to, come figure things out. I don't see why they wouldn't, have her come back, It seems like they're trying to open things up again, too. Like, they're at least talking with the dwarf, or with the wardens and stuff.
Stalgard told me about this place. The mountain is rich with lyrium, and the dwarves built this outpost to trade with Tevinter. As long as a dwarf stayed within the fort's walls, it would be as though they hadn't left the stone. Yep. They could keep their caste name and status.
Right. Traditional dwarves are particular about avoiding the surface.
The Kal-Sharok don't care about those rules, but Orzammar does.
I mean, I think back then, back in the day when this was built, it would have been, they all were operating on the same thing. One of the codex entries we read said that the Kal-Sharok dwarves only did away with the caste system after the tragedy of being, left behind by Orzammar, So they've definitely developed their own sense of, what they think is okay and what isn't. And they had, in order to survive, they had to be more flexible. You can either become stricter on things when you're trying to survive, when terrible things happen, people will double down on things sometimes, or they just have to, blow everything up and, figure out something new. You know what I mean? So, the Kal-Sharok dwarves figured out something new.
Is it just me, or does it feel different now?
You're right. Something's different. Maybe it's because the expression of the Titan's pain that looked like me doesn't live here anymore.
I can't believe that made perfect sense.
So was it the Titan's pain or was it Harding's pain? You know what I mean? I'm I think it's supposed to be Harding's pain, but also the Titan's pain, right? And then she didn't acknowledge it. So her anger at their pain, essentially. And, I don't know, if it's not blighted lyrium, they're oh, it's not blighted lyrium, then don't make it red. Don't make it red, make it something else, make it black, or something, I don't know. Make it orange, Don't be oh yeah, here's that thing you spent the whole last game, being worried about, but it's not the thing you thought. I don't know. It's frustrating.
I'll just move this rock out of our way.
Okay. Feel free.
Heard ya.
Is this entire mountain a titan?
It's been still for so long. I can't tell where it begins and ends. It's big, though. They all were.
Yeah, to like, I don't know, to be like an aspect of the Titan's spirit and like look out and see your body has to be like a wild thing. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, okay. We're just gonna wait here? Alright. I mean, this is the...
Those rocks I can move were all parts of the Titans once.
Oh.
Once I knew, I couldn't forget it. Now I sense them all the time, whether they're dead or just sleeping. The story of their fall is the story of our birth. It's why we don't dream, why we're resistant to lyrium, and the reason we feel the earth in our guts.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we were kind of thinking that, you know.
Leave it to me.
I'm still not sure, like, what was the old relationship, though, right? Where they called them Children of the Stone, and the Titans seemed to be fairly magnanimous towards them, but...
We sold lyrium to the Tevinter Imperium. Titan blood, our blood, traded for gold. So they could use it for magic. The elves stole lyrium from the Titans to make themselves bodies. And eons later, we gave it to a new generation of mages. All on our own. It's sad, isn't it?
I mean, it's tragic, but I don't think, nobody should feel guilty for it. You didn't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's a tragedy, is what it is, you know? And the same thing with the elves. It's a tragedy. But, like, victims on both sides, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, you can't really beat yourself up for it now. Just do better going forward. The Desolation of Kal-Sharok. Also, I think it's super cool that I have all these, like, lore interacting places, but, like, I'm only noticing them if I get right up next to them. Like, what's with that? You know? To save Orzammar, High King Threestone steal off the deep roads, abandoned Kal-Sharok, and left us to the Darkspawn. In declaring us lost, he forced us to find ourselves. That he did. And we still don't know exactly how they survived. They heavily implied that they're, like, blighted somehow.
No darkspawn around the deep roads on the way here.
Lace Harding's shade kept them away for a time.
So they'll be back, you think?
It is hard to say. They seem different now, but there will always be patrols.
I'm told I must. To share what we know of recent events. They affect both cities, after all. The Shapers are all right, but the Assembly will ignore everything we have to say, of course.
I hope you're courteous.
You're telling me to be courteous?
Yeah. Also, you don't have to be courteous. I don't know.
Do I look alright?
You look fine.
Fine. Are they back up on the
Lace Harding will not
Just want to leave a good impression.
better not tell her.
Also, like, the Shapers are alright. The Shapers are the ones who, like, rewrite the histories. Like, they're supposed to write it down. And probably most of them are alright, but, like, some of them willingly rewrite the histories because the nobility tells them to.
Oh, there he is. Stalgard.
Ah, good. We are all here. I wanted you to meet my sister, Dura. She is a steward of Kal-Sharok's memories. A historian.
We have heard of your gifts. We wanted to meet you. To learn from you.
From me?
Yeah.
About the Titans. About our past.
You came here to meet me. To talk to me?
Oh, see, this is the part where you do the thing that shows us how far you've come.
Oh, okay.
I've learned so much, but I know there's still more to discover. I could tell you what I've learned, but maybe it's better if I show you.
Fourth wall breaking, I see. With me.
Hear the song of the stone. You children of Titans.
This is the eternal hymn.
The prayer and the proclamation.
Isa Tunal.
Interesting. Okay, Harding.
I felt it. I felt the Titans.
I opened my heart to all of you, but I could hold it only for a moment.
But there was an eternity in that moment. Thank
Very
you.
poetic.
No. Thank you. Being here with you, with all of you, I finally understand. We will carry the Titans in our hearts, but it is no longer their time. It is ours.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And remember those. Okay, so the Titans are no longer like. Maybe if I had chosen to like go with the rage or whatever, it would have been like we're bringing the Titans back. I don't know. I don't think you can bring the Titans back necessarily, but the fact that they still exist, I think, means that they shouldn't necessarily. It's not like remember those that came before. Like they're still here. They're still somehow like around and like alive and existing. Like not. I don't know if you know if alive is the right way to put it, but like, yeah. So, but yeah, I guess maybe it's not. We're not going to go back to the way things were, which I don't think you should. Back when the dwarves were like what, just like little. Maybe they weren't like soulless entities, or maybe they were soulless, but like still living, still vibrant entities, like individual autonomous entities. But I still don't know that. I still don't know if like they were just little like hive, like drones, or like if they were their own people. You know. I think the stone, the Titans, like, do love them, though, as children. But I still don't know for sure how the relationship was. Rook, it was good you stopped by with Davern to see how the griffins are growing. One of them, Hydus, is a fast learner. She came by the other day and flung a knot snake down at my feet. Nasty thing. It's unnatural and twisted by magic. They can clear an area of wildlife in less than a day, then start a nest the next day that sets the plants dry. Hydus had torn it to pieces. Clever girl. I think these griffins are now exactly where they need to be. Take care, Eldrin. I think the training they need is minimal. It's more going to be, I think, training other people to understand what the griffins are doing. But they still do need, like, they have instincts, which you do need to train. It's like livestock guardian dogs. Like, they have training instincts, but they have, like, instincts. Like, right? Because they were bred for a specific purpose. But, like, they still need training. Yeah, no, maybe I'm just, like, not putting all the Harding stuff together, but I feel like her stuff could be better. And, like, the dwarven lore could be better. Better implemented. But maybe I'm just being a fuddy-duddy, though. Oh, that's right. We had a... Okay, I'll do that one next. Or maybe after Tosh. No, let's complete Bellara's first. I'm going to do Tosh's, but... Bellara's is just going to be another quick one, I think. But let's go poke people really quick and see what they have to say.
So, tell me, what's Tosh like? I mean, when you're together.
Together? Like, together? Together? Are you asking me what Tosh is like in private?
I think so. Isn't that what we're supposed to do when one of us is in a relationship?
Supposed to. Says who?
Well, that's what people do in the serials. The really steamy ones, at least.
Can you imagine if everyone acted like they were in a serial?
Can you imagine? Wow, crazy. My friend is doing a Bellara. Also, I think it's weird. I thought Harding was here by herself, but apparently she's not. And Bellara just didn't show up on my map, which is weird. My friend is doing the Bellara romance right now and is a little less than impressed, which I think is maybe not surprising, but I think Bellara was supposed to actually pretty popular with, like, on like the stats wise anyway. But just because someone gets picked, you know, a bunch maybe doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best one.
You would have let Sam walk.
If that's what he wanted, didn't seem right to make the decision for him.
Not sorry he stayed, though.
I would have been miserable if he left. You must be happy about it, too. Who would you spoil without a son around?
Spoil? That bird's spreading rumors about me again.
That bird's spreading rumors.
The Wardens must be celebrating in Lavendale.
I mean, they are. You look drunk. He was drunk. But also, like, there's apparently, like, a big bad thing going down right now that we have to take care of. In Hossberg. I was gonna say about, Emmrich being like, Davern, you seem the least phased.
Every time I walk into the crossroads, it feels, I don't know, sad, but also right.
Have I not taken Bellara out the front door ever? I was gonna say Bellara seemed the least phased in that she was like, tell me more, you know? Like, I'm so excited to hear more about this.
To other shores.
But if phased is one way or the other, you know, like being too, like, excited or, like, upset, Davern was probably just the most, like, chill about it, you know?
Professor Emmrich, I have more Lich questions.
Of course.
Can you feel non-tangible stuff? Breezes, heat, dryness? And I don't want to pry or anything, but what if you crack? Can you repair yourself or... Oh, casting! What's spell casting as undead like? Easier? Harder? Same mental inscriptions? Wait, I just thought of... Oh, you know what? It's okay. I'll make another list.
Answer all that I can?
Oh boy, they should probably just send letters, honestly, so she could get the questions out and he can write them down. I think voice acting as Bellara must be exhausting. Harding too. They both have these, like, they seem to, like, inflect in these, like, higher pitches that I feel are natural for whoever's voicing them, you know. But I don't know that for sure. Like, maybe they're talking deeper. I have no idea. But I figured Emmrich would be good to bring, if he can come, to burial, right? And he's a necromancer and a lich now. He knows death intimately. Having 2 Morn Watchers come with you to a burial, I think, has to be, at least in my mind, I feel like it would be very, like, formal, somber, like, appropriately gravitas of a situation, right? Like, 2 people who know exactly how to act on any sort of, like, you know, burial or mourning or anything, you know? I mean, you can never have all the answers for sure to it. Like, every person mourns a little differently, grieves a little differently, but just keeps getting stuck. So annoying. I have 2 sets of earrings now that I really like, but they keep getting caught on my braids, and it's really annoying. I like that we have these follow-ups, though. They're short, but it's nice to have.
Enna Bellanaris. From the form, we bring forth the eternal. Thanks, Rook, for coming. I don't think I could have done this alone.
Morn Watch. Ooh, bloody yes! I didn't get it for, like, lich stuff necessarily, but I'm getting it for laying the dead to rest.
Death is hard. Funerals are meant to make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Funerals give you a chance to say goodbye, even if they never hear it. Anyways, we need to light 3 more braziers. Each one represents an aspect of the self. It's close to what we've always done. The Dalish, I mean. But the ancient elves used Veilfire to show our connection to the Fade. Or so the archive tells me anyways. I think it's what Syrian would have wanted.
Also, like, what? Like, the elves were basically immortal. And if they died, it was when they went into Uthenera. So this could have been an Uthenera ritual, I guess. I'm bad at funerals, I say, as a Morn Watcher.
I know it's hard, but you can do this.
I already buried him once. At least this time, it's for real.
And you have a body. I think that...
Let's head to the first brazier.
Anybody who's, you know, lost a soldier or someone...
The first brazier should be ahead somewhere.
How far?
However far it needs to be, I guess. Wonder what else we'll find. On the archive, I mean.
Could be anything, really. It didn't sound too choosy.
Not choosy, but rude. And very, very stubborn.
Yeah, anybody who's ever lost someone, or like somebody's gone missing and you've never found the body, like they know, like you're always just a part of you is always hoping. I don't know this from experience, but like it seems like one of those things, right? Where like you would just constantly be wondering, are they like? There's no closure, really. You know, even if you have a funeral, like having the body is irreconcilably like important. You know what I mean? Not just for anything, like, you know, ritual-wise that you may want to do, but just for closure.
Look, if you need to talk, let me know.
Okay.
I don't want our history to make things awkward, and I'm still your friend, you know? Anyways, time to light the first brazier.
Anyway, just be creeping, I guess. I know that they said that they prepared the funeral, but... What is this for?
Third we grant to the stars, to speak your life to the firmament. Am I doing this right? I don't know. The archive wasn't much help. It told me the words, but words are only part of it. Rituals aren't just about what you say, it's why and how you say it.
Reclaiming the past was never going to be easy. But we have to start somewhere. Why not here?
Syrian made it sound so simple. Learn the past and then live it. But so much is different. Who we are now is as important as who we were.
Exactly.
I just wish it were easier.
That's what Mythal said.
Okay, let's head to the next brazier.
Is that something about how,
It's unusual to see all these obstacles in the way of a funeral. Death's hard to deal with, though, no matter where you come from.
Each obstacle's supposed to represent grief and moving past it, literally. But yeah, it's a little weird. Probably. Syrian would have laughed at it.
It really does make sense.
Okay.
No, but Mythal was saying that, like...
So what do you think is out there?
I don't know. Could be anything, really. That's kind of the magic.
How did you all get up here? That, you know, what the elves... Like, the elves will see the good and terrible of the past, but what they are now is so much more than the elves then, in many ways, could have... perceived, you know, could have understood, you know, like they are of this world and of the Fade in a way that the ancient elves never were and never could be. Oh, it's Nev. Oh,
Nev, what are you doing here?
What? You know I show up for you, Belle. They'd only let one of us come, though. The rest send their regards, especially Emmrich.
I'm just... Wow. Thank you, Nev. And everyone else.
Hey, as long as I'm around, you've got family. All right, go on and light the brazier.
I'm gonna cry. I mean, I brought Emmrich, right? But, it was between Emmrich and Nev, because I know Nev and Bellara are really good friends. But like I said, I picked Emmrich because he knows death intimately, right? And they are good friends in like sort of a teacher-student sort of a way. But yeah, so it makes sense that he's like especially Emmrich, you know? That was really sweet.
A third we grant to the sea, to carry you to distant shores. Syrian always wanted to see what was across the ocean. Not Pervalin, I mean really across the other parts of the world. I wonder if the Evanurus ever left Thedas.
I mean, I think they're afraid of something across the sea, right? That's the impression I'm getting.
That's a good question. Who knows how far they traveled?
We've seen their power. I bet they could go anywhere. Maybe there are other elves, somewhere else. Without the Exalted Marches, without Tevinter, what does that even look like? Maybe better, or maybe not, but different?
I like that, though.
More of us alive, and probably free.
Or totally enslaved.
Okay. On to the next one.
It could be a very similar story, but like the idea is a good one. I like that.
Okay. One more brazier to go. I'd hoped that the archive might change now that Honoris is gone.
Why would it?
I'm guessing it didn't.
It called me a witless fool 3 times when it was teaching me about ancient elven funerals.
So not so much then.
I had to threaten to send it into an active volcano.
So why are there people waiting after the obstacles?
It's a reminder that on the other side of even the hardest days, people are there for you. I like it. It's literal in a really reassuring way.
Yeah, that's a nice thought.
I do like it. I think almost the more ritualistic a funeral is, I think the more comfort it derives to the living and potentially the dead, right? That was often the reason for ritualistic funerals, was to like send off the dead properly, but it's, I think in many ways is more potentially beneficial for the living. You know, who knows? We can't tell what benefit the dead derive from a funeral, but the way the living handle it and treat the dead, it speaks volumes of them as an individual and as a people. And I like these very like literal, like, you know, steps.
I thought Dalish clans planted trees for their funerals.
This is what we've always done, that I remember, anyway. Well, we didn't use ancient magic before. First time I went to a funeral was for my grandmother. I was 7, had to climb through a bunch of fallen trees. By the time I got to the end, I was dirty and tired and sad, but not as sad as I thought I'd be. So I guess it worked. At least a little bit.
The Dalish used to plant trees for the dead. Well, I don't know if that was like an overall. I know the Emerald Graves is called that because a tree was planted for every elven warrior who died during the Exalted March that killed off the second rising, like the second iteration of the elves. You know, like you had the original Elven Empire that was taken down by Tevinter, and then after Andraste was freed and like abolished slavery, she gave the Emerald Dales to the Dalish, or to the elves, right? And many of them went to go live at Kal-Sharok in what is now Orlais, and what was then Orlais. Yeah, then when they refused to worship the Maker still, like, I don't know, 200 years later or something like that, a crusade was essentially called against them, and they weren't called the Emerald Warriors. What were they called? They were the Emerald something, was like the warriors, like the elite force of the Dalish who lived in Kal-Sharok, who fought with wolf companions at their sides, and fought on the backs of Hala. And for everyone that died, they planted a tree on their grave, and that is why the place is called the Emerald Graves now. You know, makes sense. But I don't think that was necessarily for all of them. And each group obviously has like they interact, but like they are also on their own enough. Each Dalish group that they would have their own like customs and rituals. Each little tidbits of lore that they had found that would inform their own like practices. You know.
Bellara, I'm sorry about Syrian.
Thanks, Strife. I'm glad you're here.
He was one of us, even if he never officially joined.
He died protecting Arlathan, even knowing the cost.
Saving the world. Seems like it might run in the family. Time to light the last brazier.
I mean, that's nice and all, and I'm glad we're not bringing up the fact that he did sort of get manipulated into trying to kill the elves. Yeah, and killed some veil jumpers. But like, yeah, no, it's not something you bring up at a funeral necessarily.
And a third we return to the infinite, to find their way to the sanctum of the eternal. And that's it. The words we used to say. According to the archive, at least. It's close to what we say now. Not the same, but nearly. And it's what he would have wanted.
And given the Dalish back part of their past, yes. I don't know, we'll see what I do in my next run. If I'm gonna do the exact opposite on everything, but like... This feels very good for the most... I can't really... Yeah. I think everybody's outcome has been really, really good. You know, and it feels right for them, you know? It's interesting though, I don't mind that there's not necessarily like a bad decision. Cole's in Inquisition was one of the most difficult quests, and to this day still is, like the outcome of it, because there's no right or wrong answer. They are both bittersweet in their own way. Keeping Cole human, or turning Cole more human, or turning Cole more back to his spirit self, you know? And there's good arguments to be made either way, like truly. People have gotten, not like, I've never seen an angry argument about it, but people have gotten really in depth with the discussion, right? And I think it's very valid. I generally make him more spirit because that was his original form, and because he was compassion, and he became human. And Varric's argument is that, like, obviously, like, this is what he is becoming, and we should encourage it. You know, like, he created this change for himself. Like, he did it to me. He did it unintentionally. He wanted to help so badly, the original Cole, that he, like, came through the fade, right? Like, came through the veil and became what he is now, you know? But it was because of who he was as compassion, you know, as the spirit compassion. So to me, I was also influenced by Solus, right? It was because Solus wants Cole to return, as we can see. It makes a lot of sense now in this game. Solus wants Cole to return to who he was, a pure spirit, you know? Because change, it wreaks havoc on spirits and can cause them great pain, and can turn them into demons sometimes too, you know? And change is scary for Solus, you know, and change is scary for everyone. But yeah. So for me, I felt like Cole's he's trying to be his spirit of compassion self, even when he's stuck in the form he's in. So I always encourage, not always, majority of the time, I have encouraged him to be more spirit, but it might be more 50-50 than I think, honestly. Because Varric makes very good arguments in the game for Cole being who he is now and changing, because he can't go back to being just a spirit anymore, you know? So why not embrace the change, you know? All of it is good.
It sounds nice. The sanctum of the eternal. Like you said, different, but not by much.
Maybe that's why I'm not sadder. I mean, I'm mostly okay. Not amazing, not great, but okay. We found it. That connection. What Syrian and I were looking for. When he came back, it hurt again. Worse, almost. But this time, I got to say goodbye. And now I have to live my life. That's all I can do for either of us.
Making it from one day to the next is pretty tough some days. But we do it, and it's enough.
Right. One foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what our people's future looks like, but now they know their past, and they have a future. I hope you've found peace wherever you are now. Dareth, Shiral, and Na Belanaris. Ciri, I love you.
Find herself in a shattered world.
Kill them, or your lives are forfeit.
Excuse me? While she will always mourn him, her spirit is at peace. Okay, well, apparently we hopped into the Notori being angry. You're still alive? You know? I'm like, what? I thought you guys were all dead. Thoughts on rituals. I keep thinking about the words the archive taught me, what they mean, what they say about who we were. They're close to what the Dalish did, or do, I guess. 3 Beziers, each representing a part of the self. But there's a difference, too. The firmament instead of the sky, and the infinite instead of to the earth. And maybe that's the difference. The Dalish ritual is about the now, the earth, the sky, the sea, being present here in the life we have. The Elven ritual is different. I don't think it's worse or better, just different. Less about the here and now, and more about, well, everything. And that's humbling and a little scary. From Bellara's journal. I think that's so beautiful. Reading, like, because, like, people's change over time, right? You can read, like, this is, I think what she said about, like, you know your history, right? You have an anchor in the past, and that helps you move forward into the future, right? One of the huge, super important, integral things about learning history. And I didn't like learning about history as a kid because I thought it was really boring. I just thought it was the American Revolution onwards, over and over and over again. Hated it. It was a really boring class. I didn't like it. And then now look at me, right? Being an archaeologist, fascinated about histories and cultures, right? Because the world opened up for me, specifically when I got into college, and I realized that the world is way bigger, and history is so much more than just the same 300 years over and over and over again, you know? And people from different countries probably have different experiences, right? Like, I know over in Europe, there's like 2,000 years of history easily. And in America, if we would just embrace, a separate rant, if we would just embrace the full, like, 15,000 years of history that we have, like, our history classes would be so much more interesting. But instead, we just focus on, like, European contact and if that. We don't even focus, we focus on, like, literally, like, landing the pilgrims, you know, and then, like, onwards. And it's like, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, there's so much you could learn about, like, the native peoples that lived here for thousands of years, you know? And anyway, that's a whole separate rant I have. Again, that's just why I think history is so vitally important, and it's often really shafted here in the USA. They have, like, PE coaches and, like, football coaches, like, teaching the class, because it's like they don't care who teaches it, right? They just have to have, like, if you're going to be like a sports coach, you have to teach a class, and so, like, they'll just, like, throw that to, like, the coaches, you know, just to give them something to do. It's like the last thought, you know, and it's like like, they don't care, nobody cares, you know, who teaches it. And it's so important, and not just for, like, you know, in general history, but for individual groups of people, you know, to know. That's why recognition of culture and history is so vitally important. Language, all of that is so important, because people, there's an anchor to that, to yourself, to your past, to your people's past, to your culture, to your land, you know, and to, like, not have that just leaves you adrift, you know, and it's difficult to move forward. It's difficult to feel like you have a future if you don't have a past, you know. Like, I'm not saying it super well, but, like, it's so, so important. And, like, the biggest example I can think of that's most pertinent to me is, like, Native American, right? Like, I'm not going to get into all of that, but if you know anything about it, like, right, like, a lot of the peoples find it difficult to, like, there's been a lot of issues within the tribes that I've heard about from various tribal people, various people all over, but, like, it's just, it's difficult to feel like you have a future if you're treated like your past never existed, you know? And so it's I think it's vitally important that very, very much believe that. Alright, so besides all that super important stuff that I'm just not gonna keep going on, otherwise I'll be here forever. I want to do Tosh and Nev in the next one, so we'll just maybe hop over to the wetlands really quick and see if we can take care of the hauntings for the wardens. Oh, but first we have to listen to the gossip. Let's go check on Emmrich too, really quick.
Johanna?
Veilguard.
Oh!
Until we find a suitable method of penance in the necropolis,
Huh.
you're to be confined under the eye of a watcher, lest you slip your bonds.
How magnanimous of you to volunteer.
A challenge for us both.
Look at him! He's so cool. And I am also, I was worried because I'm like, oh, he's gonna be by himself because he's not gonna have his little friend, you know? His little boy. But apparently he gets to have an evil skull. So that's cool. He's a lich. He can handle it. Interesting, though. I was not expecting something so detailed to pop up.
Bellara, I'm sorry about Syrian.
It's hard. At least I got to talk to him at the end. The real him.
That's something. But I'm sure it still hurts. If anything happened to Hassan.
Cherish him while you can.
That's the truth.
Yep. It's so funny too. He's very traditional looking griffin for the wardens anyway. But his brothers and sisters, some of them are quite multicolored.
How are you doing?
Oh wow,
Tosh?
this is beautiful.
Sleep well last night?
Nah.
You were there. You tell me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm happy for you. I don't necessarily want to just walk in behind them and be like, oh, whoops, I overheard.
You had quite the stack of letters. Intrigues from home?
It's the Via della Morte. There's upkeep, repairs. I'm being asked if I should redecorate the main dining room. I'm not sure what to do. I make a mistake, both Katerina and Thea will kill me.
My entire Mimratha's apartment could fit in your main dining room. If you're looking for help, you've got the wrong address.
Yeah, for your fixing up your mansion, I don't know if any of us can be like, yes, well, just have them do it if they want to do it. You know what I mean? Just be like, hey, you guys decide and I'll sign off on it, you know? Be a bit more decisive. But it'd be a bit more decisive in that you, what is the word? What is not delineate? Maybe I'll think of the word later, but, you know. Yeah, I cannot think of it. I cannot think of the word I am thinking of. It starts with the DE, I think. I can't believe he's hollow. Emmrich's hollow. So crazy.
Emmrich, I think Hassan misses Manfred. I caught him in your room sniffing around looking for him.
He's always in there searching for crumbs.
No, he was whimpering. Sad.
Oh, poor thing.
When I was there looking for him, I thought I heard someone else crying too.
Oh.
I miss him too. Don't know what I'd do if I lost Hassan.
Oh, okay. Oh, now I'm gonna cry. I was curious if they would bring it up, because they were the dads, right? This was the dad squad. And I was curious if anybody would bring up Manfred. But it kind of, so much has kind of happened that I'd kind of forgotten, but maybe if I'd let it sit long enough, instead of doing everybody's, like, end of, you know, wrap-ups or whatever, things would maybe we'd hear about it a little bit more, but... yeah... That's so. Well, it's kind of a relief to know that Emmrich still has like these feelings, right? But even as a lich, like it hasn't changed who he is. But that's really sad. I'll have to make sure to visit him more so he doesn't get lonely, or not too lonely anyway. You still get lonely if you don't have your little buddy around.
I have a list of games to try with the Griffins.
How many items are on that list?
18. Wait. 19.
Mm.
Can you remind me about the plumed kite later? I don't know what it means.
I don't know what it means. Well, you are more than welcome to go play with the Griffins, but now I, again, feel bad that I didn't bring the Griffins back.
Be careful out there.
I'm sorry.
Does Arlington have a lot of truffles?
Probably. Why?
For the Griffins.
Hmm. They are always more than welcome. Anybody's welcome to go play with the Griffins, you know? But we have hopefully a quick haunting to take care of. It says a solitary figure is like walking like coated in blood or something.
Emmrich, just putting it out there.
Oh?
Yes?
You and me, a monster hunting team. Warden and Lich. From darkspawn to demons, we've got you covered.
Corporeal and ethereal enemies alike?
See? You're getting it. Imagine the coin we could rake in.
Lichdom isn't about wealth.
Yeah.
Could be.
That's actually so sick. Yeah, I love the Davert. I thought about bringing out somebody else, but I was like, no, the Davert Emmrich squad is where it's at for me. I really, really like it a lot. He's like, I'm just putting it up there. The corporeal and the ethereal. That is such a good tagline, honestly. You guys could, like, be super, like, renowned. Not even about, like, wealth, but about, like, renown, you know? So, that would be cool. But yeah, this, what was it? The description for this was actually pretty sick. A silent figure stained in blood stalks the blighted wetlands. The spirit possessing it thrives on fear. Those who can't flee its presence wind up dead. It must be returned to the fade. Isn't that pretty sick, honestly? I think that sounds pretty sick. Where are you at, spirit? Oh!
There. It's a haunting.
Why does that look so creepy? Ooh, I hate it, actually. I really, really hate it. Oh, I hate it actually so much. Oh my gosh. Where's the scarecrow itself? I can't see anything.
As you said.
A figure intended to frighten, though not like this.
You stopped it. The story of that thing will live here much longer.
Ooh, my legendary armor is legendary now. Is it this one? I am wearing this one. Deal 150 necrotic damage and a planet cruises to nearby enemies when you reach low health. Woo! See, we already make a good, or at least you two make a really good fighting squad. I could help. I would enjoy that. Oh wow. We're in some legendary stuff now. Alright, well I think I will let that one go now. Let this one go. Let this episode go. We've done quite a bit. Yeah, we just have Tosh and Nev. I think we're progressing down their lines still. With Nev we have the Venator woman who's crazy and wants to take over the city. And with Tosh, we have to go rescue their mom. Because even though it doesn't say it in the thing, we know that their mom is probably getting kidnapped. Or maybe we're getting ambushed. Something like that. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Really quick, I'm going to cut away and say thank you to my patrons. I want to say thank you to all my patrons, starting out with my Acorn tier patrons. Thank you so much, Fane, for your support, and thank you so much, Leo, for your support. If I say that wrong, I'm so sorry. I want to give an extra special shout out to my Sapling tier patrons. Thank you so much, Reese Galito, for your support. I very much appreciate it, and I still appreciate the blanket. Thank you. And I really want to say thank you to my other supporter, Sebastian James, my old friend. Thank you so much for your support. I very much appreciate you as well. And I want to give an extra special shout out to my Forest tier patrons who have gone above and beyond in their support of me in the channel and who I truly cannot thank enough. So thank you so much, Christopher, as always, for your support. I treasure it a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Nightshade, for joining the crew up there in the forest. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you're enjoying the videos. So thank you all again for joining me and for being on Patreon and watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.